the ability to dominate. Now, who's listing again God what men should dominate? See, I asked the list. But what we tend to see now is that among it's dominating us. For example, not here, but China. God, dominator, little habit, right? How we try it, we have months but moment, you live, right? Which humans were given dominion over. Only who dominator the grapes as a function way. But these things were given dominion over. They now dominating us. Say one of the loss. So see, a loss of purpose. Now when you lose purpose, you can ask when's the but before you have a party, some fella Jay, who doesn't feel singing in solo, I can't feel Genesis. Genesis chapter 4, verse 7. If you see Mamma to give a context, Ukayeni, Ukumbi, say good, Ukumbi, Eddie. Uthumelele umuso wokukhulu masikese mveke ngokumdala xa iPhone reading from King James Version Genesis 4 verse 7. If thou doest well, shalt thou not be accepted? And if God is talking to Cain, and if thou doest not well, sin lieth at the door. Now if I Now this is Esau, right? Say Esau. I've told before, after. But look at what God says. And unto thee shall be his desire, and thou shalt rule over him. Put in the body. What's your response, Cain? To Esau. You must rule over Esau. In other words, Utito, the ability to rule has nothing to do by Solos and he still expects Cain to rule, to have dominion over his soul. Is that practical? Why would God expect the classes in soul to recall about Cain and dominate? In other words, ungena kwesono akumkisanga dominion according to God. You can. That's why when God was giving a purpose, again, yes, a purpose. Your man, birds should fly. One should before his soul, right? Even after the sin, birds are still what? In other words, the purpose for the bird to fly is still relevant even after it's soul. So in lesson is that God is still expecting you to dominate over his soul. So because that I
Lift up Christ. Tell the world. Okay. Ndiyayibulela le opportunity yomaphambi kwenu. It's been a while. It's super scary ujonga abantu abangaka. I hardly stand here. I'm sure abanye abantu abandazi noba ndingubani. But ndiyayibulela nyanga opportunity. Ndingathetha nge-loss of health. I-lesson service wakho iphaa kuMarko, Book of Mark chapter 5 verse 25. Sizawuphela phaa ku-verse 8. Le sabe sithetha ngomama owaye-issue of blood. Ndicela nje umuntu ofunda kamnandi, whether uyifunda esiXhoseni or kwi-English, asifundele le verse. Mark chapter 5 verse 25 to 30. Ndicela umuntu oyifumene asifundele ukuthi. And the woman was there.
And a woman was there who had been subject and had spent all she had. Yet instead of getting better, she grew worse. When she heard about Jesus, she came up behind him in the crowd and touched his cloak. Because she thought, if I just touch his clothes, I will be healed. Immediately, and she felt in her body that she was freed from her suffering. Verse 30. And once Jesus realized that the power had gone out from him, he turned around in the crowd and asked, "Who touched my clothes?"
And ndicela sifunde i-implication yomuntu at the time owayenele issue. What was the condition xa unele issue? Ndicela sithethe la sifunde kwi-Leviticus chapter 15 verse 19 and 20. Just to bring context, ubani lo mama wayephila kwi-predicament enjani at the time. Leviticus chapter 15 verse 19 and 20. Yes, Madam, you may read the volume.
When a woman has her regular flow of blood, the impurity of her monthly period will last 7 days, and anyone who touches her will be unclean. 19 and 20. Verse 20. Anything she lies on during her period will be unclean, and anything she sits on will be unclean.
So, the situation where mama is that it was not only the fact that she's suffering from losing so much blood in her body, but over and above that, she was declared unclean. Now, if a seat because it will automatically become unclean. You can imagine the trauma of having to deal with the Bausbori outcast the community. Remember, even known to or they close to her automatically becomes unclean. So by virtue of going through the situation, hopefully I think at the time, hopefully how unclean who announced that he unclean. You can imagine the humiliation. I mean, even until today, Aboko is the unclean. I can imagine at the time because the order of the day. Definitely, the mama was not only carrying trauma physically, but also spiritually and psychologically. I cause the issue uye emzimbeni However, it happened. And the worst thing is that this problem is natural. I can't apply it, I want this to happen to me. But it happens, but it has a certain period that it needs to stop. However, I stop even when that period arrives. So you can imagine what it does psychologically, what it does physically. Because remember, when you lose blood, you lose weight. When you lose blood, you lose concentration. What this woman went through. However, asiva-ke umbhali esibonisa into yobana how sympathetic was the community of the day. Asiva esibonisa ubana ifamily yakhe yayisympathetic kangakanani kuye. Simbonisa Farisha alone with this issue. To support that, it is Farisha alone. At the time avayo, there is a healer in the community, which is Jesus. We tries. I can imagine the energy levels that were very low. She tries to pull through the crowd. As I tell you, I am yes. What touched me about this story is that the woman believes, first of all, before she actually touches the hem of the garment of Jesus, that I am healed. So she touch her the garment. It's just you're not a garment. Otherwise, what was more important was her faith in touching the garment. So the mama who pulled her through the crowd. I figure I touch in this is what amazes me about this one is that we stand still. And we have money, power is drawn out of him. Abuze, ubambani lo, umtachile. But you know, I think innocent that I have drawn, will you yonke the story because the story is long. Ndobana, ukholo, noma uyagula, libalulekile. Healing starts with the sick person. The sufferer, iqala kuwo healing process. Utefika udoctor ezokexamine, but the healing process starts with you who's suffering. Because your mama, imagine if we sebefikile but engakholelwa, I don't think she would have made it. But by them touching, maybe nothing would have happened. However, she had faith first for it. And yet, you know, the mama aphinde wayisafarisha apha is that the mama was so desperate that her pain became her purpose. Yangathi eyona nto ayiphilelayo ngoku, purpose yokomama is to just get healed this situation ikuyo. Her purpose was to be healed. Nansi qha into weyibawela ebomini bakhe weyiphile. Remember, Mama said she sold everything. She probably lost her property if we were only property. I can imagine Mama would give the property as long as it disappeared. She said, she lost a job about way now. If God would find her at the time. If it was today, this is how it is. Malone said, I said I had the energy to go to work. I said I had the confidence to show up. M17. I suppose not grasp my instruction because with the devastated J situation, I would say if it was today, she's probably depressed. However, the mama determined when she knew what she needed, and I feel it was on the healing. I want to say, Masana, that because the issue might not be an issue of blood. It might be cancer. It might be any other thing, any other sickness. You might have a sickness of gossip, and you don't understand how deep this issue or not is. But until you realize, then you are able to say, you know, yes, I believe can change my condition. I have lots of sicknesses. And sicknesses is lack of confidence. And you're so intimidated when you see other people so confident in front of you because unable self-esteem. Pray about it and have faith that God is able to heal you. Zininzi sicknesses esinazo esizaziyo for a fact. I think this is an opportunity for us to examine ourselves. Sizijonge ubana are we not losing ourselves in the process of seeking for healing? We need to understand what is the purpose of us coming to Christ. Is the purpose to get healed, or is the purpose to be comfortable with the sicknesses that we have? I think ibalulekile ngoba simcele uThixo asiphe amandla. Ndiyafuna ukubuza ibali. We recently lost one of the members naively sick for, I heard that for quite some time. What is our role as the church? Yoba sincede abantu esiyaziyo uba bayagula. Do you think we have a big role to play? And what is that role that we need to play seeing God to assist each other? Are we trusting each other enough that we are able to tell that I'm suffering with this issue? Ndicela ke bethunani, ndiyathanda ukuchitha ixesha besinike 15 minutes each person, I'm sure wasendlini. But ndicela nje kubekho nabazali ezibini ezinompendulo bezenzisa abathi kuwe benzisisana njenge-preparation. So i-questions angizi-2. Question yokuqala, xana sisick into question, do we trust each other enough to be able to tell each other that siyagula? Do we feel that this is a safe environment for us to share our sicknesses? Secondly, uba siyagula, what is the role of bonds? I think ndizawucela ndizandla zibe mbini. And then Nama will share about how do I feel about sharing my sickness in Gonzo.
It was Mamungwana. I think Mamungwana, you raised a very profound question. But I think for me, I would take maybe 2 or 3 steps back and say, do we actually care about each other as a church? I'm asking this because if I care about KT and I speak to him regularly, it will be very easy for him to tell me when he's sick. So the fundamental question we should have and we should ponder as a church, do we care enough about each other? It's going to be very difficult for me to open up to Mama who I don't even talk to. asafika. Sizawunika ke ubrother Geza angene naye.
Good afternoon, church. Among the losses that we suffer as people, corner is what we lose in that one thing. It replicates. You end up losing other things just by losing one thing. And one of those things is identity. I'm going to focus on the story of Lord. Lord grew up in a Christian home, right? He grew up knowing the ways of God, right? He was raised in his family knowing the ways of God. When he and Abraham they were staying together, and there was a time when the land could not accommodate the two of them, and they had to split and make a choice. Abraham said, "Okay, Lord, okay, Lord, okay, child of Sodom and Gomorrah." One of the evil towns that were there at the time. Waketa, because the land was flat, the land was green. Waketa this side. As time goes on, especially on this side of Sodom and Gomorrah, the Bible he got closer and closer and closer to Sodom and Gomorrah. Until I part of it, until I part of Sodom and Gomorrah. So maybe before I talk about the things that he lost as part of making this thing. So the first mistake that he made is Waketa on the side of Sodom and Gomorrah, knowing very well by its evil. And then he made a lot of mistakes after that. After that, being part of Sodom and Gomorrah, there was a fight between kings, and he was caught up in that. Abraham was on favor, but he went back to that town. Secondly, Gothic agency to cities and to you, we are coming to destroy this land. This land is evil. We are coming to destroy this land. We need to leave. So I think angels, before I talk about leaving, I think angels that Lord Sifuna Lamadoda came to the Lord says, daughters, take my daughters. I've got two daughters who don't know men. Take my daughters. That's another loss right there, right? He's willing to sacrifice a family to say, I mean, it's men. I mean, those guys were angels, they could fight for themselves. But why would you put one about all the line on people and fight for themselves? Right? They got on the line, okay? Secondly, he goes to Sodom and Gomorrah, rich. He was rich when he went there. But when the city was destroyed, he came up with nothing. And he had a rich man. When the time to leave came, he doubted. The angel said, take whatever that is yours here and go. Take one of our family. Who Lord, what doubted? The angel said to take him out. Right? Because Lot doubted, I can imagine that his wife also doubted. As they were leaving, as you go out, just go, don't look back. The wife looked back and she was turned into a pile of salt. Let's continue. So they go, the wife has died. He goes and stays with his daughters. Abantwana bakhe, they discuss, but our time is up, we're gonna lose our family, blah, 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 blah. Let's sleep with our father. Abantwana bakhe slept with Tata one. And two nations came out of that. So, what are the two nations? It's Moabites and Ammonites. So we've tabled, but now I want us to go back on the story. See, John Babu Lord whose identity. Who chose that the land because that land looked beautiful, it was green. Waketa that and he sacrificed his own identity. And by losing that identity, he lost many things. Lost family, he lost a wife, he lost dignity, he lost wealth. What else did he lose? Culture, give us a story. Prisoners. That's what I don't. Okay. So he lost a lot of things. And the point I'm trying to make here is that let's be careful what we sacrifice in our walk as we live this life. Let's be careful what we sacrifice, because just by losing that one thing, there's a ripple effect. You end up losing many things. And there was even death in his family. I want us to contrast this story with the story Job. Death, and then who are you? I come to represent earth. Okay, but I was Yoga. But if you consider my servant Job, are you Satan about his like that because you protect him? Okay, go. Satan went all out. Job lost his family. He lost his wealth. Did he lose his identity? No, he didn't. He didn't lose his identity. He held on his identity, despite the fact that he was tested for that very same identity. He retained it, and everything that he had was restored that he had lost. So let's be careful in our walk as Christians. As things get tough, let's be careful what we lose, because we sacrifice one thing in a way of saying, but we are chasing wealth, we're chasing all of these things, then we end up losing many things. Any comments, any questions, any additions that you want to put? There's something anyone who wants to highlight in terms of another loss that I missed as I was looking at this.
Afternoon, church. What I want to highlight is how they lost these things. Satan utika ependula Yehova emveni koba ethe ngumyeni athi uThixo makasisandle, and God says, no, I won't war against Mohammed. Now, Lord there was no debate. He did that to himself by the choices that he made. Now, this brings to mind the reality: God does not remove anything that he is doing, except his protection, but preserving Ubutinabit, which is our lives. And then Satan does as he wishes with us. Now, that would mean whatever we lose, it's not that God has taken, it's just that he allowed the devil to do something. Thank you.
So God does not take, but God allows, based on your choices sometimes. I guess that's another thing that I highlighted. The second hand, can you get the mic? Okay, Rosa.
Ngifuna ka-Lot ukuthi uLot ufika kule ndawo afika kuyona, it was through Abraham. And sometimes that is it is through our parents. So the identity that we have is a facade of an identity that we do not have. So umuntu mayesibuka uzothi umsabatha lo. Abantu baze bathi I'm third generation. Kahle kahle, when we dig deep, asikazi siphenduke. So whatever happened to Lot, there is a possibility ukuthi vese wasekuqaleni he had not known the Lord in the beginning. It is not God speaking to Lot, but it is God speaking to Abraham. Abraham encenga uLot, knowing very well the type of life he lives. So, kwesinye isikhathi our identities are attached to others. And if we were to remove labo bantu labo, then sisala exposed. So, if it was not for Abraham, then Lot would not have anything in any case. He would not be anyone who would even know about him. All we knew was that why we had Abraham. So if I'm selecting for us to have an identity, this week there was a thing trending about 30 plus or friends of the youth. At our age, close to 40, some of us, as fully promising about this is who I am, but we always want to attach to yesteryears. God is such a way we don't want to let go activities, we don't want to let go of anything. City at Dala wants to eat purity when Amazimu are in need. So this is why I'm going to telling you that you should this is so that it take a lot of time. Shall we pray? The loss that we are calling a loss was actually a gain for him. Because sometimes we think we are losing whilst we are gaining. Make an example of what was said when we were reading about him. The purpose of he thought maybe I'm becoming a slave. It was through God's purpose I was Potiphar. It was God's purpose abortion that specific one with the king's servants. So that it's in Langa his fathers could be saved. So Western country will lose parents, lose everything, so that they can litigate.
Thank you so much. Sometimes we lose some things that identity can be submitted. Thank you so much, Church.
Mhlawumbe masizisa ekhaya lento. What has the Seventh-day Adventist Church lost? What has Langa Church lost? Uyayazi mosibana Langa Church maybe kudala kwakudla ukuthi ayisenziwa noma something that you have lost. Or maybe amasabatha aziwa ngabantu abangatyi inyama, but ngoku you have lost that. You must bring it back now. Right? What have we lost? Thina ke ngoku asithethi ngabantu abangaphandle abajonge inside. Usuku loo nto, right? Amasabatha aziwa ngabantu bangaphandle abazenzi ezi zinto. We're not talking about that now. See the family gathering now. What have we lost?
Ndibulisa njengegama Yesu. Ndingumntu amaculo osucuko. Andiyazi kukho into ethi mandongeze kulaa mvuzo katata. And mhlawumbi izawuba ngathi ndisisucuko. Ingabe asiyo part depressing and breaking each other and breaking our kids and causing these kinds of loss and inflicting pain in each other as Christians, as this church, and also what are we doing about it? What contributions are we contributing towards our losses that we have? It's a sad thing because we lose. When I was listening, I was listening because I got something that you lose something, but then the very same thing causes you to lose your identity. You don't lose only your identity, you lose purpose. The same thing, the same person. It doesn't have to be the one person that loses one thing and then the other person loses the identity and the other one. But me alone, I can say, because I've lost this thing that made me, or this thing that I thought it's giving me strength to be who I am, then I lose faith in the work of God. I lose faith in even standing up for myself. I lose faith in even being the person I am towards the other people. I change and become someone else to other people that they don't even know. I also don't even notice that I'm changing because of these things. And therefore people will give me names. So there's a lot that comes when, and in Yanyambuselela, the pain that I've walked through my life, that I'm still walking even today. And the loss that I have, But all I'm saying is that, what are we doing about it? Aren't we maybe the contributors as church? Are we even looking at it that way as well? That we may be the contributors sometimes to some of the things that are happening to us inside our church and inside our homes as well. Because whatever that goes into your home, it also comes and affects the church as well.
Yeah, we're hating church. We're hating church.
Abanye izinto engizozisho abanye angizoba spiritual stress yakuphala movement stress yabo. So yeah, stress so but what I'm trying to say, who share in whatever else you are having for structure. Look, whether that's a line or it's family, the fact is, so gets that balahlekelwa at some point. Abanye uthola lose jobs, ne? Uthola ukuthi anamculo below hakusho engine is one or not. So when I lose that engineer thing, the title, then I cease to be known as a person because I've lost a job, right? Uthola that job then that I've lost, then I cease to be a provider at home. Then I cease to be a husband at home. Then I cease to be a father at home. Yet, bonke labantu ngakuthothi bakhona, but because that thing that identified me has been lost, then it becomes a domino effect. So one thing leads to another. Izinto ezenzakalayo. Into ebabuhlungu-ke uzwa kule nto eshiwo umdala ukuthi we get to a point where all of us are losing lapha phakathi. Wonke umuntu ezulwini sesithi umuntu ufela ngaphakathi kuswele flask maye-5 ngaphandle ifa ngaphakathi. Uthola ukuthi we have all these losses, we don't talk about them. Wonke umuntu uzala emqondweni, we look good, we look clean, you can't even say ukuthi umuntu unenkinga loya. So I think one of the things we need to do, or we need to try to do better in this issue, a level of care. I can bet you imali, it's better sabati, can bet you imali, which half of us don't even know where the other stays. We, over the years, over the years, bekuvakashelwana, sihambisa umthandazo, but you don't find those prayers anymore. Uzothola ukuthi omunye uhlala nentombi kodwa asazi kodwa uyashumayela because asisenayo ngesibonelo le-extreme uhlala nentombi yashumayela u-right, abanye bahlangana la enkonzweni asazi ukuthi umshado wabo usenkingeni, sibabona nje befika kumnandi kanti uphuma kwenye indawo nomunye uphuma kwenye indawo. So these are the things that are going on in our churches, in our pews. But because we don't talk about them, abanye balahlekelwa by their spouses, we don't even know what it is. So only fail, and now we went through the same thing, but because we do not talk, still that's not us how to deal with those things. So you get badly themselves is to form support groups. I mean.
One of the issues, I have a problem with the statement CT. This is how I am. Ndizayibeka context ethi ndizawuthetha nakanjani and then ndithi indlela umakhumane nayiyo must accept him as he is, which is a wrong statement. I do not have a problem nokulungiswa. I don't think ukhona into engakulungiswa. But what is important is how do you say that? I always say, before you say anything, first receive that thing before you utter it. What I mean is, before ube kanti uyijobisa kuma, how about uyithethe kuwe and see how you know, is it suitable? Iyambeke izibini, here saying, kubethele ipain physical ne-emotional. Amazwi ayahlala. And amazwi ehlala nje empini. It's easy to believe it. Based on my problems endisoloko ndinazo okanye indlela endisuka nayo ekhaya nezinto endizivekhaya uzokongeza ngaphezulu. Not knowing ukuthi sobethele besokugqibela isikhonkwane. So one of our problems is me saying sisenkonzweni apha ndingumuntu ndamkele ngendlela endiyiyo, forgetting the hidden power of Christ that is able to change noma kumandlela elizweni. So ukuthina bethu masingabeki phambili more than what the Bible is saying. The Bible doesn't excuse the fact that we have emotions. It doesn't. These things, God knows we have emotions. Let us not. It's not justifiable. And sure, that is okay. But now, the minute to see to show that means a covenant is actually Christ. So you get it happen. So how we do things, how we relate to each other is very important. Talking. Nobody power, that's the smallest thing, which is greeting. So when I can figure out what to do, this is actually do this. Actually, we remove the casted out, so something like Munisman. Nalam to them to la pastor to the local police and Obama every day after which is also the layer of Kamasna because this is a lele to the. So in bringing the solution, before we say anything, must receive. Ilapha ke lento inhloko inje into embi ayilibaleki msinya kunemali sithi isikhosa umenzi ulibala msinya kunomenziwa and ke ngoku ingxaki because ngoku ibuyela kulaa nto ithetha ngokomntu ekuchulupha ethi ukungazali kwethu nokukwazi kwam nawulungele ndizawusuka phaa naye athi ngoseme phambi kwebantu athi qwamba ndiyakwazi umhlobo so andikwazi ukubhaqela. Kanti ukuba besisazana laa ngxaki yam uyaziyo besayisebenzela ekhusini sizise kumdala side silungiselane kude kulunge. Ngoku sidibana nabantu ozothi ngondihlele apha ashumayela usolunzi bendithi bengelalihle because ndiyamazi ngoku benze into liphinde ekuhlaleni. That the church knows nothing about. And ke ngoku masibuyele kulaa mcingo uthi masiphathisane neengxaki zethu. Ubanda confidentiality is very important. So that is the thing yam nandiyazi into ezawuphuma ngalaa nyama and akekho umntu ozawuyenza. So if Lord, before sikubizane iingxaki zethu sithi masize nazo apha, let us be sure to keep confidentiality of those problems into ourselves in Christ. Advice is saying as my is back. You want a solution to the problem and is that way. Ne? Ayithi loo nto xa ubusolunzi mandithi bendithetha nolonge lunale ngxaki. So lo mzi ndinale ngxaki, ndithatha laa ngxaki ndiyenze yam, ndibuze ongathi ingxaki kaloku idignity yakhe negama lakhe is protected. But ke ngoku thina uzokuthi ulungile lunale ngxaki ayisebenzi kanjani. So ezi zinto zenze izizinto masizazi uba xa zisizwa kuthi will be able to accept them. If asizokwazi masingazenzi.
Each and every family nasemakhayeni ukuthi sibana amaxesha nje sihlale phansi andithi sibana lento senzayo sihlale phansi where the children have to evaluate what kind of dad I am. And if person strategy assumption behind the light, how have I done as a father? You do that most in the companies, right? So you do that at home also. You don't take assumption by the right. And the child will say, yeah. We have to say it. I come with this balance. Sawubika nje ukugqibela phambi kobana si-equipe. Unosithethile ngosuku, but we need to be equipped also.
Sekomnye ofuna ukuthetha.
Uxolo ngiyalibisa ndinombuzo endinawo nje mandithi usisonke sekefundile ukundithemba nezakwazi ukumxelela iingxaki zakhe. Ziyafika ezi ngxaki from different people. Mna ezifikela kum ndingadila njani nezi ngxaki? Because kwii-cases ezininzi bayafika neengxaki zabo umathe uba ziyandonzakalisa kwamna ezi ngxaki ezanazo. Mna endithululelwa ezi ngxaki ndingadila njani nazo?
Okay. We have someone who is going to round up the program for us. Umbuzo wako uzawuphenduleka a little bit later. Thank you. Ndiyabulisa ibandla ngegama likaYesu Kristu, amen. Ingathi siseke kancinci. Sibawela uculo. Ngathi ewe makuheavy nyana sinewunzi ne masinewunzi siyakowa Ndiyabulisa bakhona ngegama likaYesu Kristu umfili wethu, amen. I'm going to be talking about the loss of integrity. I just want to give a definition of integrity, right? Integrity, kodwa into endizayithetha yinto yokuba integrity is you doing in your corner what you will do in the night. Xa uphaya ekoneni yakho wedwa, the things you do there are the same ones you will do in the night. Always the integrity. I'm going to touch on a few. The first one is 1 Samuel chapter 25. Well, 1 Samuel chapter 25 is talking about the encounter that David, Nabal, Abigail. Nabal is a man that was very rich. He was wealthy. And the sheep sharing festivity. So the sheep sharing was but they needed a thing. It was a thing. So I'm tired, especially for somebody who's wealthy. I let you tell you was a second I was very and it because boy so it was a thing. So it was during this festivity, sheep sharing, everyone is rejoicing. David is not yet king, and Saul is the king of Israel. David is being pursued by Saul. David uyabaleka. Ekubalekeni kwakhe uDavid aye kwindawo ebucala kule ndawo ukufutshane nalapho uNabal akhoyo. Acele supplies, athume uDavid. He sends out 10 young men from his army. He's got an army of about 600 men. Acele just 10 to go. Bayocela supplies kubani kunabo. Athi
xa ebathumayo athi go in my name. Nimxelele into yobana abelusi bakhe besibaprotectile khange kwenzeke nto kubo, they were under our protection. Sicela asiphe whatever abanayo in terms of supplies into zokutya because bakude away from home andithi. Ifike i-message kuNabala, i-response kaNabala ingabikho positive. uNabala kuze kuthini? Why should I give ukutya kwam, my bread, my water, and the meat that I have prepared for my shepherds? And he sends them away. One of his shepherds, iyoxelela unkosikazi kaNabala ongu-Abigail, baye, nanku umyeni wakho. Kuthiwa ke uNabala wayengumuntu polite to describe. He was not a wise man, but over and above that, he was a hothead. A hothead and a wise, you can imagine. Yeah, so this man is a hothead, he's not wise. Also get a shepherd, Abigail, umyeni wakho. Uthumele abantu baka David empty-handed. And uthi xa ebathumela uthi, why should I give izinto zam to ubabiza i-outlaws? Why should I give into zam to i-outlaws endingazazi bazisuka phi? Yayofika imessage ku-Abigail, u-Abigail in her wisdom wathi, wabiza iisebenzi zakhe wathi, khawulezisani, qokelelani yonke enikwazi ukuyifumana. We need to send gifts to who? To David, otherwise khona ingxaki ezayo. Nyani benza njalo, and she sent them forth. Wathi ndiyalandela emva kwekhawulezisana. Badibana noDavid on the way. Before David ayofika apha kwaNabala, badibana naye on the way. Xa befika behlangabezana naye, no-Abigail naye sefika, wafika njengoba ezinyaweni zikaDavid. Wamcenga esithi kumkani, noba yintoni na isono sakhe sibeke kum, ndiyaxolisa nazi ii-gifts, please zamkele. Nyani uDavid azamkele ezi gifts. U-Abigail ke into esithiwa ngaye kuthiwa she was not only wise, she was beautiful. And xa sisithi beautiful, asithi average, we are saying beautiful, like the most beautiful woman of her time. Nguye owayemhle ngelaa xesha lakhe, wayengoyena yena. So Abigail was the most beautiful woman. Uyafika, she handles herself before David, amcenge athini, hayi nyani, David alukanye msinyane nje funa lo enga yakhe ibe throw it like umnandi kuyatshiwa and usele newine ngene andizongixelela ngokuloxela kusasa bakwenzeke ntoni. Nyani amxelele ke ngasasa. Xa emxelelayo othuke lo ithi iBhayibhile ke inhliziyo yakhe yaqina njengelithi. 10 days later he dies. Ne? 10 days later, after ukugothuka kwakhe, andiyazi noma mhlawumbi wafumana i-cardiac arrest, but yamqhuba for 10 days, but ngo-day 10 wanikezela okanye, but ke kuloo nto yenzekileyo uye wasweleka ngo-day 10. Ekuswelekeni kwakhe uNabala wenza loo David wahamba wayothatha unkosikazi wamtshata, ne? Thatha uAbigail yamtshata, but xa emtshatayo, you would think of this very beautiful woman. Most people are excited, ne? Especially one excitement. This one, the excitement, same time. Okay. Embali, siyabuyela apha kulo. Siye ku-2 Samuel. How 2 Samuel, I'm looking at chapter 11. Ibali masesilaziyo that we are familiar with. Ibali likaDavid noBathsheba. And it song is siyasazi isimo sikaDavid. But when you look at what David did with Bathsheba, and you look at what David did with Abigail, uDavid ufumene practice phaa Abigail, because if niyalandela ibali lika-Esther, not Esther, uRuth. If niyalandela ibali lika-Ruth, kwenzeka ntoni kuRuth uswelekelwa kwakhe ngumyeni wakhe? Who was supposed to redeem uRuth? Ndiyabuza ke ngoku, ndibuza kuni. Who was supposed to redeem? Who had the right to redeem uRuth? Okay, who had the right to marry? Masala, people of the book. Who had the right? The closest kin to the husband is the person that had the right to redeem the wife. And hence Boaz became that person because Boaz was the closest existing kin at the time. Ne? Sevandi. So David, meaning what? David is not related to who? To Unapa. Does he have the right to redeem the wife? Okay. Then speaking chapter 11 of 2 Samuel, Bathsheba, Siana's bad. Move on. Chapter 13, 2 Samuel, David is now king. David now has children. Amongst abantwana baka David, firstborn son got David in bad, go Amnon. The second got David, Kiliab. Kiliab mntana kabani? Kiliab mntana ka-Abigail. Okay? And then now sizofika kowesithathu. Uyena wesithathu kaDavid no-Absalom. What happens after chapter 13? Firstborn son desires for sister ka-thirdborn son. Uyamthanda. Iyafika itshomi yakhe kuye kuJonathan, I think the friend. Iyafika kutshomi wakhe uthi kuye, kutheni? Wabalini day by day, meaning uyawubhitya. Every time ubona ungathi umncinci kunanda ubalini day by day, what is going on? Athi I love Tamar, my brother Absalom's sister. Athi my sister, my brother Absalom's sister. Ndiyamthanda, sister kabrother wam. Akamowni wabo wakhe, ne? Eziremover enough from the situation as if they don't have the same blood running through their veins. Uthi ndithanda sister kabrother wam. Aze necebo utsho bajonga mbizise. Uyagula. Umbize azokonga and then. Nyani wayenza loo nto. He raped his own sister. Ogqiba kwakhe immediately wamcapukela more than he loved her. This man could not control his passions to a point of committing incest, violating his own flesh and blood because he had no control over what? His passions. Did his father control his passions when he redeemed a wife he had no right to redeem? Did his father control his passions when he married David was a man of valor, a very strong man who could not control his own passions. He could not bring his passions to subjection. And that spilled over to his own children. To his own children, loss of integrity. This is what happens. And then after the Absalom won sister wakhe. There's a certain dress code. Robes princesses. They wore certain robes. As robes, Utama after a violate Amnon, and she put ashes on her head. Wambona Absalom. wambuza because uyayazi uba ebeyokonga abantu beyokonga ubrother wakhe wambuza uba wenze le nto wamthatha wamfaka endlini yakhe wathatha 2 years akathetha and he plotted into eyenzileyo after that 2 years waya tatakhe wathi ndenza feast ndiyamema tatakhe wathi asizukwazi ukuza wathi okay ndicela uAmnon azi wabuza tatakhe kutheni ufuna uAmnon azi wathi no ndicela umyeke eze weza uAmnon after ezile uyalele uAbsalom uba as soon as you can see that he's drunk smite him and they did exactly that to avenge who? To avenge sister wakhe uTamar. The amazing thing is this, uTamar was violated. Chapter 13 of 2 Samuel, ubhala in one liner of verse 21, about when King David heard this, he was very wroth. One liner. After that, dololo action. Nothing happens. His own daughter has been violated by his own son. But when he hears that, I mean, if you are a father, your own daughter, fathers who have daughters, you know your relationship with your daughter. If your daughter was violated, would you be quiet? Would you not act? Even if it is your own son, would you not act? David did not act. Did nothing. And now, Absalom, but this man is not doing anything. He goes, he takes matters into his own hand. Here's the thing we need to understand about David. David was a man of conviction. David was a man of conviction, he was a man of passion, and he bore children that were like him. Absalom was just like his father. He was a man of conviction. He was a man of valor. What? Okay, I'll show you. Wabulala brother wakhe. After bulala brother wakhe, Absalom, he flees. We have utatomkhulu wakhe. Utatomkhulu wakhe was a king. Mama ka Absalom was a daughter of a king. He flees. We have utatomkhulu wakhe. Ahlale phambi utatomkhulu wakhe. Until kufike ixesha lokuba makabuye. Abuye uAbsalom. Xa ebuya, uDavid uthi, do not show him before my face. But the same David, even nayo into ababonayo umbono uAbsalom, uthi do not show him before my face. Angabonakalisa nyhani uAbsalom before his face. Ahlale kulaa ndawo ahleli kuyo. Uthe send him to his own house. Wahlala uAbsalom endlini yakhe. Akaza before his father. But kwafika ixesha lokuba uAbsalom ngoku adinwe. Abizise afune ukuya. So Absalom ekudinweni kwakhe. Now he starts, uyarebela, uchisa ifields to get attention. Wayifumana attention. Absalom pursues his own father. His father. Now King David, imagine the whole king, Ipuma in the palace, being pursued to go and live in the wilderness. Why? Because of the inaction. Because of his lack of integrity, because he could not control his passions, and now he cannot control the passionate anger of his son. He cannot do anything about it. So namhlanje we are talking about loss in the family. Absalom was affected by the loss of integrity katata wakhe. And the same way, we should be careful nathi when we do not have integrity in our little corners. Our children are watching. Our children are watching. When we talk about people in front of them, they are listening. And one day they are going to rebel against us. Loss of integrity. What we do in the dark must be the same thing that we do in the light. Now, we are different people. We are raised differently. We must accept. We don't all have to be the same. We don't all have to like the same things. We don't all have to have the same approach. But masingabi ngabantu abangalungisekiyo. Yabona that thing ethi take care of intombi esemehlweni akho before ukwende no. Masingabi ngabantu abangalungisekiyo. uYesu uthi come as you are, akathi stay as you are. Akuzuphuma ilizwi elisuka ezulwini elithi tshintsha, uzawuthumela one of us here athi vuyiseka tshintsha. You are wrong, change. It is important for us to have integrity. It is important for us not to be overruled by our passions, because the passions is that will leave us naked. May the Lord bless you.
Kate Grace nebandla yento i-family life efuna uyenza so that siyeke ukuphila superficial with each other. Sifuna ungena to the deep issues zebandla. Sibe nibona ayilulanga nayo. Ayilulanga, sizawunika ke umama umakho to equip us. Kodwa ke siyazi bandla uba umoya oyingcwele oqhubeke ngayo xa iqedile ukuthetha inkosi.
Molweni bandla. Ndisoliki. Eyona nto indoyisayo yokuba ingathi heavy into esithathayo namhlanje. And ke ngoku le nto ndizayithatha mna, if ibingu-heavy lo siya ku-heavier. Ndicela siculele ingoma bantu bandla ezasenza nje uba sikhululeke kancinci, then ke ndizoqhubekeka. Amen. Ndiyabulela kakhulu. I think umoya oyingcwele noba ukunike le ngoma, because kuyo yonke le nto siyithethayo namhlanje ndicela sikhumbule uba uthando lukaYesu luyamangalisa. Amen bandla. Butholozi, I think mandiphendule wena mqala. Ikho nto esisayilungisayo. Ubuze umbuzo ne othi xa ke ngoku itshomi yam ithendelwa izazondinika iingxaki zayo, mna ndifike ezingxaki zindongamele, funeke ndithini na? Ndizawubuza ke ngoku apha kuthi sihleli apha, uyafika uqala uzoxelela uphathise into okokubana ndifuna uzibulala, ungaxeleli mntu. Funeka athini uphathise? Athini? So I think yinto esobunjalo leyo ufuna ukubuza isonto. sometimes siye sixakekisa abantu ne ngengxaki ezinkulu abangenawukwazi usinceda kuzo, because yena uza kum uzothi ufuna uzibulala ne. Andiyazi uba mna mandithini, tshomi masithandaze, tshomi hayi mandikhawume kancinci uzawulunga into, azibulala utshomi kuba uzawuba guilty bomi bakhe bonke. Andithi notshomi, yeah. So I think as much as Vanessa City, let's try to be open, to also really easy that we are going to be open about everything. There are professional people who are trained to do such things. I am one of them. But ningazi nibulizeni. So inenzekayo ichoma izokwazi even nomama notatami angakwazi ukundinceda. But I think advice onoyinika utshomi lokubana ikhona indawo lifeline mhlawumbi onofowuna kuye wenza appointment uyothetha nomuntu o-equipped o-professional ozakwazi ukunceda. Khona i-home house, ikhona i-SEDEC, zininzi indawo apho abantu banokwazi uya kuzo bathethe, and ke ngoba abantu ngabona abantu batreyiniweyo for i-confidentiality. Uyabona mhlaza wava into yakhe ethethwe ndim ungandihambisa i-license, ifundile i-license, uzawuphelelwa ngumsebenzi. Zininzi izinto that are at stake for mna than utshomi lo, because sikhumbule i-relationship zihambe kube khona apho ziqhawuka khona, ziphume izinto, ziphume sekunzima, sezihevi ke ngoku. So we need to safeguard sonke ne. Tshomi ndicela into uqala uyicinge before uyothetha kutshomi ne. Notshomi angafaki ingcebiso angazukwa ngomsebenzi zamjikele angakwazi ubana makathini. That might be fortunate or unfortunate. Bishop, are you ready? Siyasokolo. Okay. U-IT wami ingathi khona into eqakileyo, but ke ngimthembi uzayilungisa. Enye kuthethiwe apha i-topic ibisithi loss in the family. Ndacelwa ke mna into yokubana ndiyizise le nto ibe practical apha kuthi ebandleni, sifundisane ngee-types of losses. Ikhona ke le yokuqala siyazi sonke but siyizimelayo sonke, which is death. Into ebangela uba ndihlele ndithi okay izawuba iyenyuka into eyona topic siba uncomfortable uthetha ngayo, but yet yenzeka each and every day. Akho mntu ungazange waswelekelwa, kuthi sonke nje masilapha. And kubekho into engumangaliso, siqhele uswelekelwa before 2019 ne. But kukho into esingangenzi ngo-2019, COVID came, and what did it do to us? COVID, it brought fear, soyika, yasenza kwaphela ukucikoza, yasenza asayazi lento besifana siyayenza. And it actually showed us that we do not have control of anything elapha emhlabeni. Ubuhlala uqonde okay ndinayo ugqirha wami ndizafowuna khona ngazuyazi. Doctor, kukho into enje ndithini? Umuntu asikaxelela ubana my sister le uyithengileyo ingangokubambelela kuyo. I had an experience yogulelwa ngumama ka-79 at that time ne-COVID. Andizazi uba mandithini. Number one, ndifila guilty because umama ebehlele endlini andithiwa abantu abadala bangahambi. Abantwana bakamama bamkile ndiswelekelwe eRhawutini, iwele lam ndiseRhawutini. Sifuna ugoduka ke ngoku. Njengoba sifuna ugoduka siswelekelwe kwapha ekhaya, asikwazanga ungcwaba utata omkhulu, asikwazanga ungcwaba umalume, ukhazeni kamama uyasweleka, yonke le nto. So sifuna umama, we needed her. Siyafika siyagoduka umzukulwana wakhe, umzukulwana afuna kwagqirha, but umzukulwana kufumanise into yobana akaguli. Instead kuthiwa ngumakhulu ogulayo and wena uyo anguyithwa ngoku. umama ahlale esibhedlela 3 weeks. Ndiyafowunelwa, ndihambe ndigoduke. Kufika uMamCirha nabanye abonwabisa badibana nami ndisendleleni esibhedlela. Ndithenga iiflawers, ndithenga ifruit, andiyazi uba mandithini. Ndiyafika phandle ndirealize xa ndihlala ndisepakini uba kanene andizumbona nalo mama ndize kuye apha. Bafika oonwabise bangena emotweni ndisitsho isikhala, kuthandazo. Ndiphume nge-reception, security, ndizoshiya izinto for umama. Something happened. Kufike iporter eyinesi ezothatha ezi zinto. Ndityololo ke ngoku apha ndityhafile because ndiyayibona ubana kungenzeka into apha and ndiphelele apha i-communication yam nomama ndim nalo mntu ndizawugqithisa kuye ezi zinto. Andibone athi usisi, ndicela unike inamba yakho. Ndiza kufowunela, ndimnike inamba. Sigoduke lonwabisa noMamCirha sendlini. Sifike endlini sithi sisahleli ngene-video call nakumamam. So kuqale ke indlela yokucommunicate nomama. Ibe iqhubekeka ngolo hlobo. Sine-angel ke sithunyelwe nguYesu sesibhedlela, uyesu wabantu uzawumane senzele i-video call simane sithetha nomama. I-loss ke ngoku ne-grief iye ihluphe ngehlobo lokokubana uyabona xa ugulelwe ngumntu uyathandaza. Ufowune kuthiwa akho nto ilungayo. Ube nento ethi okay bawo, mhlawumbi kuba makangatyiwa zintlungu kakhulu akho nento esinoyenza. Siyavuma mayenzeke into efuneke yenzekile. Ulali. Mxa ngo-3 ekuseni phinde uvuke uthi andisathethi laa nto bendiyithetha bawo. Ndiyamdinga ndicela aphinde abuye. Ndiyathembisa ndizakwenza le. Oko nje into kwaphinda angene kulaa mnyango simbone angaphinda alale. Yenza loo nto igrief. Yeyi andisathethi ngebani. Ayilungi? Okay. So bathini ndithethe nge-laptop nina nizibona? Okay. So indima bendizawuthetha ngazo zintathu yeyokufa, death, i-relationships ke between i-friend ne-friend ezibesithetha ngazo apha. Ibe iphinde mama nabantwana, unkosikazi notata, i-divorce eyenzekayo, i-loss leyo. Iphinde kubekho i-loss yesithathu ye-employment. I think nayo ibichachazele apha. It's just a pity ke ba ezinye izinto kuzawufuneke ndizinqumlile ngenxa yexesha. I think eyona coping mechanism esinoyisebenzisa when it comes into yokufa kuku-accept the reality nokubana hayi kwenzekile kunje. And the moment uyi-accepta loo nto iyakwenzela kube lula ukucinga nokurisisha, because ukufa kwi-stages okuhamba nazo. There are 5 stages i-model of stages zokufa. Kukho i-anger, kube nomsindo, ushock, kubekho i-denial, uqonda ayenzekanga le nto, mhlawumbi ikhona imisteyiki nje eyenzekileyo. Uphinde kubekho i-bargaining. I think le bendithetha ngayo into yobana uyathandaza bathixo, okay, ingathi into azizulunga, ndiyavuma makwenzela intando yakho, angalala uzawuphinde zibe rayithi. Phinde ngomso uvuke, uphinde ube ne-sense of guilt into yokokubana into bahlambi babe ndithe okanye babengahambanga ngemoto ngengenzekanga laa nto, okanye babelele bavuke ekuseni efresh, umntu engakhange afumane ingozi yemoto. Kubekho i-state se-depression apho thina sifike sisithi into yokokubana yho akasitshintsha umazibani sisithi siyomfakela umthandazo ebhutsheni. Akekho rayithi. ukwistage se-depression, akacingi straight, ufrustrated, unomsindo, akazazi makathini akalali nolala udiniwe, but thina siyi-interprete because sibona i-reaction yobana nanku umuntu ucold kodwa thina besizomthuthuzela. Kubekho ke ngoku i-stage se-acceptance, apho uqonda into okokubana hayi, okay, yiyo yenzekile. Omnye umuntu kube lula, ndiyakwazi ugqitha kule nto because une-support. Omnye umuntu kungabikho lula ugqitha. Aphinde lokho athi beke se-acceptance, ayofaka i-anger, aphinde abeke i-denial. Zonke ke ii-losses zingolo hlobo. Friendships, it's the same thing. Because kaloku bendimthembile uzibani, ndi-exchange izinto beside siphume nangee-holidays. Abantwana babe bebesendlini yakhe nomntu. So once you lose umntu wakho kumthandayo, through i-friendship, those are the things that are happening to you. Une-anger, une-denial, uphinde ube ne-depression, because mhlawumbe sine-trip yaseDubai besiyiplanile, ayizukwenzeka yonke loo nto, mhlawumbe sendithenge namatikiti, yonke, like imali ndiluzile. I-process ye-loss ke ibuhlungu, ihamba nje, sadness, one guilt, one anger, kuzo zonke ii-types ze-loss. Ndithe i-death, friendships, i-divorce, umuntu odivosileyo angachazela into yokokubana i-painful because uluza umuntu ubuhle naye, ingayi-6 months, ingayi-25 years, lixesha elide, belisherisha izinto nalo muntu. So iyafana nomuntu ingathi ubujele at that time. Kubekho abantwana, kuzawufuneke ngoku behluliwe abantwana kule weekend bakutata, kule weekend bakumama. How do they cope nento enjalo abantwana bethu? You need to adjust ke, unfortunately. Ilizwe siphila kulo, ithi iBhayibhile sithengiswa ngokuhle kodwa. So yonke into eyenzekayo, we need to adjust. Ekhona lo mntu engekho, internally you need to find your own identity. Because ngoku uzawuhamba wedwa, you need to know who you are. Okwesibili, externally, abantwana bebengasikwandeli esikolweni, bebesiba ngutatababo, akekho ke ngutata. How do I navigate all of these things? Uzawufuneke kube khona icebo ofuneka ulifumene. Whether utata ukhona, but udicide ngokwakazi wayiphatha nefemeli, nokumama bekhona uswelekile, kukho abantwana abareza ii-siblings zabo bebodwa because i-COVID bathathele abazali. How do we cope? That's also you need to find ways and means. Also spiritual adjustment that you will need, because abantwana bebeqhutywa kumzali, akasekho ke umzali. Umama ebengengolapha enkonzweni, ebesaqala ufika, nangu utata uyasweleka, eyona support system yakhe. What do you do? So wena mntu uphilayo, you need to find ezo zinto, indlela yo-navigate ezo zinto. Bese njalo i-friendships ke, you lose i-companionship because kunomuntu uhlala naye, you share experiences. You lose support financially, you support emotionally, and also socially. Kubekezana ke ngoku into yokubana nasetshomini, bendiyitshomi kabani, besihamba besisiya kulolo. So ngoku xa ndiluze ululama, oomalungi abasafuni, osinda abasafuni, sendililolo ndodwa ke ngoku, I need to go and find ezam itshomi because bendiyitshomi yetshomi kakade. Uphinde uluze i-hopes, ne-plans, ne-dreams that you had with the person. How do we cope with a breakup or a divorce? You need to recognize that it's okay to have different feelings. As feelings as anger, as feelings as sadness. All of those things, they are going to happen as is we are down the corner. You need to recognize and to tell yourself it is okay. You need to give yourself a break. Because I don't try to bound, to try to get a nommy. I'll come with a bonus one, and only can is our motion relationship because we are the package at the time. Give yourself a break. As now more toxicity can how can who's fully also heal and regroup your brain so that who's born it because sometimes I'm alarmed. It's not the other person yet, but almost she the differences that you had now where you contributed to those things. So again, when I try to feel shy, uhlala phansi, you do self-introspection, ubana, okay, mhlawumbe yintoni endiyenzileyo, igalelo lam le ndafika lenza lo-kula relationship, so that when you move to another relationship, you do not repeat those same mistakes. And you need to go through ezinye izinto, one man jive, alone, ne? Because you need ixesha lakho lokucinga. Uphinde, you need to reach out because uyawufela ekoneni bekhona abantu. Number one, listing professional people. Okay? Khona igame bekwenzelwe ye-bipolar apha ye-depression kwabizwa umfundisi. Kwakwathiwa umuntu umoya womfundisi athini. Ndabuza i-question lokuba umfundisi is he equipped to deal with such? Ne? Because sizawuthi hayi man, ukhona umuntu makhona xa unengxaki yakuyo, abanye makhona shem wabantu engekho equipped for le ngxaki kuyo. Uya kumfundisi, umfundisi naye akakho equipped. So you need to find abantu aba-professional. Khona ne-issues zemali, zikhona i-NGOs ezinganidi imali, bayasebenza nge-donations. Ngaloo mini mhlaze walungelwa wena, uzubakhumbula, uye kubo. So please guys, you need to reach out. Sine-families, blood families esizalwe nazo. Uzawufunela umntaka mama, ukhale kuye, nikhale nobabili, isolveke indaba. Sibe ne-families esizibuilde ngokwethu thina, because not wonke umuntu unefamily yakho kwabo. You need to have umuntu oyi-one. Uzawukhala, akhale, istori sikaJob, ufike uhlale phansi ecakwakhe, ulile akuthuthuzele ngathethanga anything. But eyona nto ibalulekileyo yokubana I have a support system, ndiyayazi xa kunje ndizawuthini. Okay? And then you need to cultivate new friends. Ziphendule, bamkile, it's okay. Baninzi abantu elizweni. It's okay, it's fine. You need to go and find abanye abantu who have the same common experiences njengawe. Uvolunteer uzakhe kodwa ukubox apha. Yazi into yohlala wedwa uzivalele ekoneni. Akho nto uzayibona. Kude kuthiwa phuma phandle, yabona i-COVID mos besivalelekile ne. Kuthiwa phuma uyofumana okwelanga, ne? Xakamela ilanga uphinde ubuye, because asingobani ababeke bavaleleke ezikejini. Uphuma kwakhe apha kuMox, sendenza umzekelo ngoMox, udibana nabanye abantu pha. And sometimes ezinye issues that we come along ebomini bethu, uthi wawuva ngeyomnye i-issue, ukhombe hayi man, noko le yam i-issue ibinothwaleka. Kukho abantu abalala, and then you get to form i-friendships ngolo hlobo. And also, kukho ii-teams abantu ababalekayo, kukho ii-teams abantu abenza i-aerobics, just to keep yourself connected nabanye abantu, because akho nto izakubulala njengoba uhleli wedwa ungafuni udibana namnye umuntu. There is time for that. It is called quality time, which is something totally different. Uyozihamba, awufuni ubamba fowuni, indlu igcwele. Nike nizibone esithivini ezantu, kuthiwa abantu abahotishayo, indlu igcwele, kuyagula laa mntu, ikhona i-problem, akakwazi udilishana naye, ukhethe uzivalele. So we shouldn't do such things. Kuthethwe indaba ye-employment apha. Kuthethwe ngento ye-job loss, ne? Umsebenzi yeyona nto ibalulekileyo kumntu olapha. Kuthethwe ngomzekelo umntu ongutata oluza umsebenzi. I-job loss impacts ifamily yonke. I-job loss impacts i-identity yomntu, ne? Sometimes xa sibona bantu ngathi kukho abantu abanemisilo, kukho abantu are dealing with a lot of things. Hathi nasikwazi asizazi because abakwazi ngozuzithetha, siyithethile naleyo apha. And into yongaphangeli, it creates i-depression emntwini, uyagula, because akho nto yakhe ihamba kakuhle. Ngenxa yexesha, guys, I'm sorry, I need to stop. But ndicela nje ubana ndicele ukuthi si-practice self-care. What is self-care? Into yobana uqale ngawe as an individual. Kuthiwa you cannot pour from an empty cup. So you need to deal nawe kuqala physically, exercise, have enough sleep, eat healthy, drink your water. Zibalulekile lezo nto. Okwesibili, emotionally, find ways to deal with your stress. Practice compassion to yourself and do not be too hard on yourself. You need to learn to forgive yourself. We make mistakes, but I need to love this person. I need to forgive this person. Socially, we need support systems. That's why this is a people doing basically. Because there's no sharing, but we need to see about this is our time. And also communicate, ask for help. Spiritually, we need to pray to God. Asincede, ayikho into enosebenzela. Udla ngokuthiwa ke kuyameditate, ukuconnectwe zezinye iilanguages ezithethwayo. Apha ilanguage yethu ithi we need to pray. Go for nature walks and also appreciate nje indalo. Izinto ezizakwenza uphume kule ndlu ukuyo, uhambe uyodibana ne-nature. Okay? I think kusabethu intsimbi kaphandle for uba abantwana bangene. Ndicela okay. I think ngexesha sizawuthanda specifically ukuqhubekeka iprogram. Kusabethu intsimbi abantwana basangene. Cookie code ka-Brain White ethi after yonke le nto siyithethileyo apha, ukubi ebomini bethu siyaluza yimisebenzi, zii-friendships, zii-divorce, siyabhujelwa. We shouldn't shy away to face ii-challenges that sidibana nazo ebomini. And ii-testimonies mos umntu owenza i-testimony wenza i-testimony ngento eyenzekileyo to khuthaza abanye abantu. Ithi the code, one day you will tell the story of how you overcame what you went through, and it will be someone else's survival guide. So, ngaske umava esinawo when we share izinto, ingabi izinto zokuhlekisa, but ibe zizinto zofundisa omnye, so that nobileyo ongekabi nawo amandla ayazi into yokubana kuyakwazeka ukuphakama, umntu akwazi ukuqhubekeka nobomi. I think ndiyayibuyisela kudade.
Nkosi bandla. Sizawuthatha nje ithuba esifuna uba zizijwani zexesha sizawuthandaza ze ke uqale i-business meeting. Sizawucela kwa umama umakwe asithandazele.
Ndicela unumber 213.
Oh yes,
Sibela nosukuleyo amandla osinike wona ubulumke sibaziva kufakulo bakwazi ukuthetha sikhuthazana sivulane namehlo besokuleyo izinto besingaziqondi sesikwazi uziqonda. Siyathandazela uleyo konke kuthethwa apha kube kanti kube imfundiso ebomini bethu ze sikwazi nesibini nathi uhlale omnye nomnye ikona yakhe sike sisigocagocwe sibone intoni esinokwazi uyitshintsha ngathi ukuze nesikuleyo ukwazi ubenefit nabalandeli emva kwethu. Sisikeleleke nesikuleyo sixhase nazo zonke iinkalo ekuhluphekekeni kwethu nesikuleyo emimoyeni enyameni. Sicela wena nesikuleyo ibe ngulo ozawukwazi usidatanisa sikhokheleyo for nomoya oyingcwele Nakonke besungule esikuthethileyo uba ufikile besungule kwenza idamage ezimpilweni zabantwana bakho, sicela umoya wakho oyingcwele ufike uthuthuzele uthozamise ukuze besululeyo sikwazi ukuphinde siqale sonke ngamandla esiwanikwa nguwe. Sisibele ke besungule usithanda sanqilisa ngenxa kaYesu siyakuthandaza. Amen.